Good evening, my friends, and welcome. The air is getting colder, the nights are getting longer, something old is moving in the shadows. Tonight, we go back in time into the heart of scary movies. A film crawled from post-war Germany and haunted us ever since. F.W. Murnau's 1922 masterpiece, Nosferatu. A symphony of horror. Not the smooth, fancy vampire you know, something older, much nastier. A monster of sickness and bad dreams. A film made without Bram Stoker's permission. It was so creepy it almost disappeared. Turn down the lights. Let's start. Wisborg, a pretty German town, sunshine, happy homes. Here is Thomas Hutter, a simple young man. He works for the loud real estate agent, Nock. Hutter loves his beautiful wife, Ellen. Their life is calm and happy, but happiness can break easily. Nock, already unwell in mind, receives a mysterious letter from a lonely nobleman. Count Orlok wants to buy a house in Wisborg, an old broken-down house across from Hutter. A huge payment waits. Eager Hutter agrees to travel to the Carpathians. Ellen feels dread and begs him not to go. Hutter, blinded by ambition and youth, dismisses her fears. The coach driver refuses to go further. Hutter is left at a lonely bridge at dusk. A strange, spider-like carriage emerges from the mist. Hutter arrives at a falling-apart, skeleton-like castle. In the huge doorway, a figure waits. This is Count Orlok. Played with terrifying movements by the famous Max Schreck, Orlok is pure nightmare fuel. He is tall and unnaturally thin, a walking dead body, a bald round head, pointed ears, long claw-like fingers. One evening, while eating, he accidentally cuts his thumb. The sight of the blood makes Orlok go into a trance, and he lunges to suck the wound, showing his monster nature. Later, Hutter finds a book in his room, the Book of the Vampires, which describes the Nosferatu as a creature of darkness that feeds on the blood of living things. The most intense part of his stay comes when he sees Orlok, with unholy power, magically loading his own coffins full of cursed dirt onto a wagon. That night, Hutter wakes up to find the Count standing over him, his monster shape a shadow against the window, ready to feed. Back in Wisborg, as if connected by a mind link, Ellen cries out in her sleep. Knowing he must warn his town and save his wife, Hutter makes a rope from bedsheets and makes a dangerous escape. He is found and helped back to health by local people, but the race against time has started. Orlok is on his way. The Count's journey to Wisborg is one of the most wonderfully creepy parts in all of silent films. He doesn't travel in a fancy carriage, he travels as cargo. Orlok is sealed inside one of his several coffins, which are loaded onto a ship called the Demeter. The trip is doomed from the start. The vampire's presence below deck begins to work its evil magic on the crew. One by one, the sailors get sick with a mysterious illness, their bodies wasting away. Their fear grows as they feel an unseen evil hiding on the ship, a ghostly presence that walks the decks in the middle of the night. They are stuck at sea with an unspeakable horror, panic, death. The captain and his first mate are the last ones alive, and in a desperate try to find where the sickness is coming from, they open the cargo area. There, to their horror, they find the coffins full of black dirt and swarming with rats. In a truly famous and terrifying moment, Orlok rises stiffly from his coffin, his skeleton-like body a sight from the grave. The first mate, driven crazy with fear, jumps overboard to his death. The captain, in a last act of defiance, ties himself to the ship's steering wheel, determined to finish the journey to its bitter end. Meanwhile, Thomas Hutter, having gotten better from his fall, rushes home by land. At the same time, the mental hospital that holds his former boss, Nock, is in chaos. The real estate agent has completely fallen under Orlok's mind control. He babbles about the master coming soon, catching flies and spiders to eat them, believing their blood will give him strength. The ghost ship finally floats into Wisborg's harbor, a chilling sight with its dead captain tied to the steering wheel. They find only a swarm of rats that pours from the ship and scurries into the winding streets of the town. Unseen by the horrified officials, a shadowy figure gets off the ship. Orlok has arrived. With Count Orlok's arrival, a clear wave of death washes over the once peaceful town of Wisborg. The rats that swarmed from the Demeter were not just rats, they were the messengers of the Black Death. Soon people start to get sick with the plague, and the town is thrown into a state of panic and hopelessness. Officials in cloaks and strange bird-beaked masks walk the streets, marking doors with crosses. Carts roll through the streets to collect the dead. The film wonderfully shows the vampire as disease itself, making Orlok not just a scary monster, but a biological one. a walking, breathing sickness that poisons everything he touches. Hutter finally arrives back home, weak but alive, and is happily reunited with Ellen. His happiness doesn't last long, however, as he sees the destruction the plague has caused in his beloved town. He tells Ellen the full, horrifying story of his time in Orlok's castle, confirming the terrible truth she seemed to feel all along. From her window, Ellen can see the old house across the way, and she watches in terror as the skeleton-like figure of the Count appears in a window, his eyes fixed on her. She understands that he has not traveled across Europe for a house, he has come for her. The book Hutter brought back, the Book of Vampires, becomes their only hope. While the town's doctors and officials can't stop the plague, Ellen finds an important part in the old book. It talks about the vampire's biggest weakness, the one thing that can truly destroy him. The book says that the Nosferatu can only be beaten if a woman with a pure heart willingly offers her blood to the vampire, keeping him busy long enough to make him forget the coming of the morning. The first crow of the rooster at sunrise will then strike him down like lightning from heaven. Ellen, seeing how many people are dying and knowing Orlok's obsession with her, realizes that she is the only one who can save Wisborg. She decides to make the ultimate sacrifice. That night, she pretends to be sick to send a frantic Hutter to get a doctor, making sure she will be alone when the monster comes. Orlok makes his move. The vampire shadow creeps up the stairs to Ellen's room, its ghostly hand reaching for the door, then for her heart as she lies in bed. He enters, a ghost of desire and death, and leans over her, finally sinking his fangs into her neck. He drinks deeply, lost in his horrible joy, completely caught up in her sacrifice. The night passes, and the vampire, for the first time in hundreds of years, loses track of time. As he drinks, the first rooster crows, announcing the new day. Orlok, startled from his dreamlike state, looks up in a panic. He realizes his deadly mistake too late. The first rays of sunlight cut through the window, hitting his vampire form. He tries to run, to go back into the shadows, but there's nowhere to hide. As the sunlight touches him, he just disappears. He vanishes in a puff of smoke, turning into nothing, leaving behind only the memory of his terror. At the same moment, the plague that has ruined Wisborg miraculously stops. The darkness has lifted. Hutter arrives back just in time to see the vampire disappear, but is too late to save his beloved wife. He rushes to Ellen's side and takes her in his arms, but her sacrifice has taken her life. She dies in his arms, a hero who gave her life to clean the town of its evil. Her selfless act is a strong contrast to Orlok's parasitic life. And so, the story of Nosferatu ends. The nightmare is over, but the scars will remain. If you enjoyed this horror movie classic video, please click the like and subscribe buttons before the dawn of the sunlight. Thanks for watching.